All right, guys, should be a short video here. I only made a couple calls and a couple trades early in the morning, and then I had other things to deal with. If you've seen my other video on YouTube about Novia, our chat room provider, for about 6 years, they really pulled one over on me. A very dishonest handling of our situation. So if you care, go to that video. If not, that's fine too. But that left me scrambling the rest of the day to try to put together some new chat room for the room, for the GreatStockPicks.com members. And so, it turned out good. It looked like the market was pretty ugly this afternoon, and I had made more than twice my daily goal on these two trades I'm about to show you. And I'll try to explain why, and then I'm going to show you a couple other stocks that I didn't trade but we had on watch and also met the entry parameters that Pandora did here, and they would have even been better. So it kind of shows how powerful that setup is. But here's the reason I made the P call, Pandora, the letter P. Gapped up on earnings, sold off, little flag, and then sells off again. Well, now you're down 3 days in a row. Actually, if I bring over the small daily chart, you can see that it was hitting the 50-day there after the 3 days in a row. And then on this chart, you can see that we have some support at 14. Okay, so let's get the daily. Well, I'm going to get the daily out of the way. All right, so anyway, this was on Bounce Watch, and at the open, let me go to 2-minute candles here. And real quick, I'm going to bring the daily back over as a reminder. Okay, so now at the open, you can see it sells off for about 4 minutes straight, right? But keep in mind, and this is why this setup is so powerful, it's already fallen for 3 sessions, and it's hitting the 50-day, right? And you're not very far from that 14 support, okay? So people, and this can be longs finally giving up. Maybe the longs that bought this gap up here on earnings, right? And they just keep waiting for it to bounce, and now another leg down, and then the market opens this morning and it's still selling. So this can be a combination of the last of those longs giving up, right? And also maybe some late shorts chasing this, thinking, shorts mentality is, hey, this stock's going to zero today. It seems to be the short mentality. So, it's a combination of those two things make for a pretty strong possible reversal. Now, if this would have gapped down bigger, I would have liked it more, because you really didn't have, what you can deem it. You had a tiny gap down. Like there's yesterday's close, here's today's open. So, I really don't call that a gap down, but it still met our parameters on something that's overdue for a bounce and then sells off early. You could also say something overdue for a bounce that gaps down fairly big. Both of those are powerful potential longs, okay? This one really met the one stipulation that you're already down big and overdue for a bounce, and then you get an early sell-off. Great time to look for a reversal. Unfortunately, I didn't call it over this 2-minute candle. I called it about here, because I looked at that and I said, I think this is going to get through the high of the day, and then some short covering, okay, and some longs piling in, whatever. I think we're going to get some upside if we break the high of the day. I liked the reversal. I liked the setup I just showed you. And I looked at it and said, 14.28 with a stop at the low of the day at 14, that's only 28 cents risk. A trade 8 minutes in, you can get some nice moves early. I was comfortable with 28 cents risk, so I called it long there with a low of day stop. 2 minutes, 4, 6, 8 minutes later, you're at 14.80, okay? I don't get out my calculator and start calculating how rich I'm going to be if this goes to 17. I start selling when I get a move like that. And you can see that was the top of the day. Actually, it went a little bit higher. And that's actually a reason right there, after a big move, not to take the second break of the early high. Speaking of chasers to one side or the other. So anyway, I made a nice chunk of change on that call. And then my other call today, or my other idea for the chat room, was WLT. And remind me, I'm going to show you the other stocks that were on our watch list that met the parameters of the Pandora trade that I just didn't see because I was focused on Pandora. But just goes to show how powerful that setup is. Okay, anyway, my other call was WLT, Walter Energy. When it looked like this, first I put in WLT volume when I saw that spike, okay? Then I noticed it kind of holding up. And I did a quick math problem, if you will. I said, you know what? This is in a fairly narrow range, 1640 to 1670. We haven't broken the early high yet, but this volume coming in should mean something. I think I saw a post on StockTwits saying that they announced they're going to use I don't know, some money from a shelf or whatever to pay down debt. Now, I don't know the company well enough to know if that's great news or horrible news, right? So what you can do is just follow the chart. When I saw the volume and it was holding up well, I just went ahead and called it. Actually, here's how I worded it. I said, WLT is not far from a high of day break. Now, if you've seen any of our videos on what we call a Tokyo trade, what we look for is volume to get us interested. You can see the volume right there. That should probably be an arrow. See the volume right there. You can see the high of day here. So it met our Tokyo parameters, and this candle hasn't moved very far. So you did get price movement, but you didn't get crazy price movement. In other words, I'm not chasing a dollar move. We still have the high of day to the left. So what this does is give us potential to light up the new highs ticker. Most traders run a new high and low ticker, and WLT is one of those names that when it lights up the new highs ticker, they can really pile in, or shorts cover, whatever you want to call it. It gets pretty busy at times, especially with JCPenney's is kind of like that too, especially with volume like this. So I typed in WLT not very far from a high of day break. Okay, it's only about a dime away from the high of day here. So there's a good chance this volume is going to push us through the highs, and then we know there's a good chance it's going to continue to rally. And then I typed in also has a narrow range so far today. And that's important because down here is my worst case stop. Okay, so if this does for whatever reason reverse and the market decides, hey, that's bad news, 1662 entry, I'm out at 1640, so I'm risking 20 something cents, and I have that potential high of day break ahead of me still. And so then I typed in maybe worth a nibble here with a low of day stop, and that's when it was at 1662. Now keep in mind these are 2-minute candles. I took a nibble. 2 minutes, 4 minutes later, we're up at 1693. 6 minutes later, we're at how high did it go? 1737. So from 1662 to 1737. In about 4 minutes, and just goes to show how powerful those volume spikes can be, especially if you know what stocks can really move. All right, so that was WLT, and I also said I wanted to show a couple other stocks that had that met our parameters for a bounce play, what we call a bounce play gap down strategy. Okay, so SCTY I had on bounce watch. All right, why? Because it's fallen 4 straight days. And it is one that, as you can see, can move like crazy. So this goes on bounce watch, and then now we go to 5-minute actually let's go to like 2-minute candles, and look what happens. This one you had a gap down, you had the close around 37, and it opens around 36.50, so that's not a bad gap, right? So you know you're beating up, and you know you're gapping down. Now this one, again, I didn't call, but I just want to show you the power of this strategy. As this starts back up, so you have the gap down, sellers coming in still. It could be longs capitulating. It could be late shorts. But look what happens as it breaks that 2-minute high, or even as it just starts up here. Huge move. Okay, let's just say you took the break of that 2-minute high after that indecision candle there, 36.85. I mean, look at that. It goes to 39. It goes up almost $3 in, I don't know how long that was, 15 minutes. Now, again, I didn't get that. I was focused on Pandora. In hindsight, I wish I was focused on SCTY. And then the same setup happened in KORS. Let's go to the daily. You had 3 days down in a row to the 50-day, okay? And let's go to 2-minute candles at the open. Again, I didn't call this one either, but it's a great example. Okay, you get the gap down. So you're already beaten up on the daily. Then you get the gap down. Late sellers are longs capitulating, and look at the break of that 2-minute high. Somewhere around, I don't know, 61.27, and a low of day stop, 60.85, and look at that. It went up over $1 from there too. Again, didn't call KORS, didn't call SCTY. They were both on my bounce play watch list, and unfortunately I focused on Pandora, which, you know what, made me some nice money too, but I've definitely babbled long enough. Just wanted to show those setups and talk about the 2 trades I took this morning before I ran into my chat room trouble. And I'll quit babbling now. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.